All right, welcome in Healthy Debate, maybe my favorite episode of the year with one of my favorite guests, probably the favorite guest, recurring guest, Stanford Steve. Welcome back. Got a lot to get to.
Do you say that every week? You say that. That's your open. I could see it written down right there.
No.
Favorite guest of the week, of the year. I see it on the note card.
That's how it goes. All right, we got a lot to get to with brackets. We're going to break down the conference championship weeks, futures. Steve has been on record saying it's his favorite week of the year. I agree. It could be better than the tournament some years. I think it's two cuts of steak is the way I look at it. Like unbelievable prime rib, unbelievable filet, and then we're going to know in 2 weeks which one was better, but both of them are fantastic.
The issue it's setting in, though, Rico, Scott and I talked about it on our pod today, is the committee doesn't think so. I mean, you hear Lenardi talk, and he's like, Friday night, that bracket's set. And it's a shame, man. It really is. Like, you think about what we get on – like, so the two seeds in the major tournaments – play Friday night. So, like, our example was, what if Maryland runs the table, right? I mean, I love their draw in the Big Ten. We'll talk about it. But they're the last team that plays Sunday. They win the Big Ten tournament, let's say, right? They got to be a 3 seed. And then they go to them, like, still sweating, T-shirts on, nets over the neck. Hey, Maryland, you're a 4 or 5. Like, that's the stuff. And it's just lazy. It's really lazy to see what these teams put on the line. I just took my daughter to SEC women's tournament. It was absolutely fantastic. But the suddenness of it is what I love about it. And I know everyone loves the NCAA tournament, but this is everybody. Everybody's. I mean, you get beat, it's done. For what, 80%? What do we got? 354 now. Schools D1. I mean. This is the suddenness and the desperation. I just feel like with so many more teams that desperate, climbs into my feelings about it being great, but it's sour because the committee just takes Friday night to Sunday off, which sucks.
It's just it's lazy. And I also think even when like Iowa a couple years ago was a 2, they win. Like nothing's perfect. There's a human element to it, but then they play Sunday in the last slate. They put him in the early slate Thursday. Yeah. So Iowa was like, hey, not only should we have been in a different whatever.
It's
like,
lazy.
It's just, it's.
I've always been fascinated,
Yeah, I've always been fascinated. I want to be in the room. I am fascinated with the room. But, I mean, it's how it goes. But, there's less emphasis on the
You got a lane in that room? You got a plan or?
No, I just kind of want to see how it's done. Like, I don't know. It's like a chemist. I don't love science, but.
I think we would all be disappointed. I really do.
Yeah, I think they're kind of nervous.
Because like we would be like, hey, what about this? What? Nah, that's already set. That was done Thursday.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm with you. It's a shame because of how much love there is for it. But I mean, going back to this weekend when you get the little guys start going and you see how that Sun Belt, that was all the talk about that bracket, and the 1 and 2 don't even make it. And now we get everybody. I mean, everybody, all the big guys are traveling today and tomorrow, and lace them up, man. Let's do this.
Yeah, a couple of things. So I love your pod, and I do think you guys have a genuine.
You listen to it, or you just watch the clips?
I listen to it every week, Steve. I listen to it every week.
You just watch the clips.
I listen to it every week. How do the way you guys make each other laugh? I think your laugh and Scott's laugh, very, very funny. A couple of different things that you've touched on the past couple of weeks.
That you didn't like?
No, just in general.
This is a not like list.
No, okay. that I connect with. The water bottles. I was going to take a pic of my water bottles. They're all spread out as it is. So I also can't compete with 78. But the question I also have is coffee and the beverages. Why do they leave half beverages in the car at all times? If it's so good, everybody finishes Stella Blue because when she has the Stella Blue, it's unbelievable. Sometimes you're traveling, it's not available. The half thing of coffee, I'm like, it must have been good. As I'm like firing it out the window.
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing?
So this is spouse talk. This is what ours. She goes iced coffee, but at least she puts it in the fridge. Right. It's not left out. The kids, on the other hand, it's I mean, those pink drinks or whatever from Starbucks, I mean, they're all over the house. Like, we get one Monday, it's laying around on Thursday. I'm like, you guys eat at every meal at this table. You don't get tired of looking at that? Yeah. Put it in the garbage. We recycle, empty it and put it in the recycle bin.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a valid, that's a good next step to the conversation because you're right. It just sits there. and sits there, and they're all half or a quarter from being finished.
Yeah.
Finish it, or you don't get another one.
You got a warning at a girls' game.
I did.
How quickly? It's okay. Like you're invested. It is what it is. How quickly are you or how? What are the sets being run? I know you said your wife's coaching. What are we getting into? We got Spain. We got Ram ball screens.
No.
What do we? All right, just
we got high ball screen. Right. We got high ball screen.
Okay.
We got a little stack look.
Okay.
You know, where ball, whatever way ball goes, block goes picks the other block. You know, get the ball inside. We got some out of bounds plays.
Okay.
We're pretty good on that. The issue is, and you'll love this, is in the fourth quarter they could press. And it's just complete mayhem.
Yep.
Because I still think they need it, but you know, the idea of the first 3 quarters, you get a defensive rebound, possession, you know, everybody gets back. You can't steal the ball. You know, it gets you a chance to try and run an offense or a set that you have. In the fourth quarter, I mean, it's just bodies on the deck, ball everywhere, a million jump ball calls with the possession arrow. And everybody just yells press. No one knows what to do. It's just press. And that just means everybody. So I think just send someone deep. Just try. I don't care if you got to roll the ball down there. Somebody that's down at the hoop is open. Guaranteed. Because the other team's just yelling press. And that just means all 5 girls go into the forecourt.
Yeah. All right. Scott Van Pelt watches nothing. He said he doesn't watch TV. He doesn't watch movies.
Isn't it incredible?
What it is. One movie, one TV show you can only recommend him for the rest of his life. Or like, you know, like somebody's like, give me a winner. Give me one pick. You're like, here's my card. Here's what I'm giving to you. Oof. One movie and one TV show that he's got to watch.
Well, he's watched Breaking Bad, and that was the first show I watched because I didn't watch it when it was out. I watched it during COVID. Blew through it. I have The Wire, and I have Mad Men. I feel like I'm an island with Mad Men, with, you know, the way people were handled back then and everybody's feelings, whatever. I just thought the authenticity of it was incredible. He still hasn't seen The Wire. He would absolutely love it.
Yeah, I just started rewatching it. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. The season 2 is rough.
No, I
just
disagree.
Gotta plow through.
I think season 2 is underrated.
Okay.
I do. Right. I think the way it connects, and at the end they show what's going on. You know what I mean? Like
you didn't have to wait that long though, because you're 3 and 4. You're like, what the hell's 2 doing?
Yeah,
you know, you're like, what are we doing?
I don't know. Sabaka's he's an interesting cat.
That was some time invested.
Yeah, I like it.
No, but it lives up to the hype, I think, more than anything. And then you got Sopranos up there. I don't put Breaking Bad in that tier. I know I'm missing other ones, but I've been on this Taylor Sheridan kick. I've been watching everything of his. The 1923 is incredible. I do think Lioness is the best version. I think Yellowstone's the worst. But all recommendations, I would probably give Scott The Wire.
And what about a movie?
Oh, God, he hasn't seen.
He has to have seen Shawshank, right?
Oh yeah. He's seen Shawshank. I'm still very high. A lot of lessons learned in Son of a Woman.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. When he's blind driving the car, it kind of loses me a little bit. But it's like,
you never know.
Yeah, you're right.
When a man wants to do something, they're going to do it.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Lieutenant Colonel Frank Slade, he gets it done.
Yep, really good one.
But yeah, there's the favorite stuff. I started watching Conclave on the plane. That looks awesome. Got about 40 minutes in.
All right, I'll check that out.
First year I haven't seen one of the Academy Award films. Yeah, I would go that or Slumdog Millionaire.
Slumdog Millionaire is very good too.
Love it.
All right.
I put that on in the game clinching game of the Yankees Phillies because I didn't want to see either team.
No,
and then we just went to Slumdog Millionaire.
There has been a lot of talk of Duke and Auburn versus the field.
Huh?
Would you take Duke and Auburn, and prices matter? So Duke and Auburn at 340 and 380 respectively, or Florida and Houston at 7 and 750?
Florida and Houston.
Yeah, I think you said that. That's why I asked earlier. You were like, I think those are the best two. I think that's, as much as people want to say Duke and Auburn, and like they've shown they're human down the stretch here, Florida and Houston to me is way more attractive. That's especially at 7 and 7.5 to 1.
Yep, and we'll talk Big 12 and SEC tournaments coming up. Interested to see how those teams handle. Kelvin has been notoriously doesn't give a flying flip about the conference tournament, and just runs through the motions. So that makes it interesting. It doesn't affect what I think about them going to the NCAA tournament. I do feel more confident in Houston than any other year. They are better offensively. They got more options. The bigs are better. Roberts has just continuously gotten better for a 4-year guy that we don't see anymore. And Florida, I mean, just the way they attack you. I mean, the game at Alabama, I'm sure we'll talk about Alabama, but they're good and how good it is. And Florida just not giving a crap last week and going into the Coliseum.
Golden's a great coach too.
Super impressive. And they're deep, man. They're really, really deep.
Yep.
And watching, I wanted to get your point on this also. Watching the girls' tournament in person, I mean, South Carolina's got, 10 McDonald's All-American, and I'm still not sure what their best 5 is. But one thing I'm definitely sure is we need 2 rule changes. We got to go to quarters.
Yeah.
We got to do it.
Billis
so much better,
that.
man. It's so much better. And everybody just points to the fouls resetting. Yes, but the natural breaks you get, that in-between quarter, that's another – teams aren't as deep anymore. And they need – like you'll see in the tournament, guys are going to play 36 minutes. Which I'm all for, but give me my best 5 on the floor. But the fouls resetting and no other level of basketball in the world plays halves. No one. And it'll be some getting used to. Did they do it in the NIT last year?
I think there was something like that.
I know they did the 6 fouls one year.
And stuff like that.
Yeah.
The thing I like about the halves, the only thing I'll say is it does make it almost like challenging in that there's a flow of where it starts at 14 minutes, and before you know it, it's at 6.
Yeah, that's right.
So while you're coaching, like, God damn it, like, how did that, you know what I mean? So
yeah, and then you're factoring substitutions.
Yeah, exactly.
When you're trying to get a guy, and then the fouls, but the fouls resetting and having a new, being able to talk to your team 2 more times without you having to use a timeout, I think really settles people. It gets your rotation going. It gets the guys in more of a schedule where, we're going to see these games in arena. There's going to be stretches where the ball's not going in the hoop and the clock's just running and running. Like you said, you go from the under 16 and then you're at the under 8 and there's 6:30 left. Like, what the hell just happened? There's more consistency with the quarters, and then the timeout and advancing the ball. I think people want offense.
Yeah, I like that too.
NFL, moving the mark on pass interference, create more scoring, all those rules, defense, put the ball at half court.
Yeah, I don't hate that.
It creates way more buzz, and you get way more moments, even though CBS doesn't let us share any of them.
Yeah, I thought they came back for a little while. I thought things were getting better there.
The rights thing is brutal.
It's crazy.
It's brutal. We can't show highlight.
I thought you could.
It kills the tournament.
I thought you could.
We get 90 seconds, I think, every half hour.
Oh, Jesus.
It's brutal.
All right, I thought it was getting better. All right, my favorite thing you do, the list of teams who can win the tournament. I have.
You want to help me?
Yeah, I think I'm at 10. I thought you had more last week. I think teams will win it is a little shorter than this, but I'm going to go 10. Duke, Auburn, Houston, Florida, Tennessee, Bama, I think are no debates, really. Could you put
Tennessee on there, huh?
I did put a question mark next to Tennessee.
Okay.
But I think, listen, I don't think Barnes is the best in March, but I think their team playing in that league, they could slow it down. It also depends upon a break. Like I don't think Virginia would have won that championship if they get out of that region. A lot of those teams in that region were very slow. Tempo mattered to them getting out of there. So, and then Virginia, obviously anything can happen in the Final Four. Mm-hmm. I think if Tennessee gets a slower bracket, they can work it out. They play good defense. They score. Ziegler's gone off. Like, they've been okay.
Listen, you don't have to sell me. And I mentioned this. Like, it's March. People are going to beat up on Rick Barnes. I don't give a shit. I don't judge guys on those type of things. I look at how he recruits. I look at where his teams are. I look if they get better. And I just think he's always in the mix. I think the guy's got to be given credit. I mean, all the stops he's had, the players he's had. And last year, Connect had 37, and they lose to Edey in an unbelievable game. That team goes to the finals. So that's a Final Four. I look at Elite Eights. He's been to plenty of Elite Eights. But Florida and Missouri are on the cusp of can win the title or in the waiting room. Those are the two.
All right, so you would take Florida and Houston ahead of Duke and Auburn, but you have Florida on the waiting.
No. Sorry, Tennessee and Missouri.
Oh, okay, Tennessee
and
Missouri.
Missouri.
All right, make sure. Yeah.
Sorry, my bad. All right, so the list is Auburn, Florida. No, in no order. Auburn, Florida, Duke, Alabama, Houston, Iowa State, Texas Tech, St. John's. Got to put Michigan State on there. Arizona is also in the waiting room with Tennessee and Missouri, but I've added BYU. And also, Maryland has been on the list from the start.
I wrote Maryland on there as well. I don't know if Willard can be the guy to win 6 in a row. I do think they have the talent. So
that's all I need.
The ones I left out, Iowa State, Kentucky, Wisconsin, Purdue, Arizona, A&M. In terms of going down the list of Kent. I went straight down Kent and Palm. I know Gonzaga's on there, but that's not even wasting time.
No.
So I went with 10.
So in the waiting room, I have Missouri, Purdue. They're on the here's the waiting room. Mizzou, Purdue, Michigan, Wisconsin, Marquette, Kentucky, A&M, and that's going to be assessed Sunday. There will be teams eliminated from the waiting room, and we will have our final list for who can win the title Sunday. People hate it, but it's like, who's the Final Four team? Who can get to the second weekend? I don't know until I see the bracket.
Of course.
I have to see the bracket. Matchups are what this whole thing is based off of. So, yes, the list will be completed, but it's super wide open. Everybody's good is really, really good. Like, I think last week that Iowa State BYU game was as good a game as we've had all year.
Unbelievable game. I can't believe BYU let him back in. I wanted to. Hold on. I sent this to myself. Where is the injury report? Of course, it's down. Gilbert, muscle strain, is being listed as day-to-day prior to the Big 12 tournament per a school sales spokesperson. So they're down. Iowa State down a little bit too. Obviously.
Yeah. And this is everybody healthy. You know, like Kentucky was in the waiting room. They go and get the monster win at Mizzou. Butler's the guy there for me. They need his on-ball presence because they don't play defense, but he provides them at least a little resistance in team. You know, when you play those fast teams from getting everything started. So Wisconsin hasn't looked great. Purdue hasn't looked great. Marquette just got their hearts ripped out, but they get another crack at them if they take care of Xavier. Was that Wednesday? So that would be Thursday at noon. Tip off with all your Johnny's people.
Yep. Yeah, we'll get to them.
Oh yeah.
All right, let's.
You have St. John's on your list?
I do.
You do?
Just because of like.
So what are people so mad about?
I don't know. I mean, I called the program poverty. They have bad facilities. You know, I still listen. Here's the thing: people they love to dunk on me, and Dan, like, I can't. In the middle of the night, Dan will call me and be like, "Your St. John's take is horrible," but we're not going to know in 5 years because when Pitino does hang it up, I don't know if they're going to get a star, and I don't know if they're going to keep getting star kids. So the good thing about me is I've moved the goalposts to 5 years, so we'll see what happens. But they
best coach in the sport.
They could win a title.
Can't argue.
They could win a title in that time.
Don't act like you're not hearing me. You're not agreeing with me. Best coach in the sport.
Yeah, he is. He's unbelievable.
5 conference titles.
I know.
And then the sixth is Providence in the Final Four. Come on.
I know. He's
come on. Give the guy his due.
Remarkable. All right, ACC. It sucks because it's very uncompelling. You got Duke minus 320, Kelsey friend of the program plus 550, Clemson 700. By the way, Kyle Smith 7th in the ACC. Good year for him.
Awesome.
You happy with that? Yeah, it's a great
unbelievable.
Year.
1 game away from winning 20. Are you kidding?
Yeah. His next
blown away.
His next NCAA tournament will double his all-time appearances. Great year for Kyle Smith.
Awesome year.
Yeah, great year.
So, you have your guys. All right. Worry about your guys.
You're right.
Okay.
All right. Fair enough. But yeah. All right.
I'm
so
just
Duke,
pulling this up right now.
What do you? I mean, the schedule. What do you make of Duke's? You know, do you all their tough games were before Christmas? You know, so it's I don't know. They're very, very good. I just do worry about being tested down the stretch. The one thing the bracket that jumps out to me, they played Louisville December 8th. Kind of a close game. That was the only time they played them. Mm-hmm. I think Louisville has gotten better down the stretch. 30th in offense, 19th in defense. Pryor, Hepburn, Edwards, Smith, very good. Kelsey's fired up. I think the only stab here you could really take is Louisville at plus the 550. That's kind of where I'm going. But which way? So who is the toughest matchup for Duke? Because that's the way I think you analyze this bracket. If you think you're going to get them in the quarters, the semis, or the final, Like, where do you see Duke's weakness, if any, in terms of these teams? Because that's the only team you could take a flyer on. It's a very boring bracket.
Clemson.
Okay.
But are they going to get there, to your Louisville point?
Right. Well, you could take a little bit of both then you're hopefully holding one,
I would just go completely opposite, and because I've completely buried Carolina, and I would take them. I would take
30
Carolina.
30-1. 30-1.
Yeah. I mean, I think and we're not taking any favorites on this pod for the conference tournament.
No.
That's not
well,
what
that's
we do.
actually a great or
you know?
You could look like an idiot, but you got Carolina at 30, you got Wake at 75-1.
Yeah.
Hopefully, one of them gets there. I don't think Pitt and Notre Dame are getting there. One of them's getting to the semi. It's not a bad price to hold.
No, I looked at the price. Carolina for sure is the team there, and then would love to see that Clemson. When did Clemson and Louisville play last?
I don't know.
That's the other one.
With these unbalanced schedules, it's a long time between guys playing each other.
Yeah, and I get it. Everybody has knocked the conference. Listen, in women's hoops, I've knocked the Big East. It's absolutely pathetic what Gino went back to coming from the American. But Duke and the UConn women are the same deal. Like they're as good as anybody, but everybody bangs on them because their conference sucks. But they have plenty of wins out of conference that are impressive. Right. So it's a matter of what you believe in. It's been one of my favorite Duke teams to watch in my lifetime. Malik is absolutely a necessity. Makes the 2 threes in a crucial spot. He's made 2 all year against Carolina, put the dagger in them. But their length, and it's, cliche, whatever you want to talk about defense. But the amount of balls they get their hands on with just the length is incredible. You'll see guys face guard, and they don't even realize it sometimes, and they get a hand on it. They're blind to the ball, but that's how good they are. And they got to be able to shoot it. They're going to have a game where they don't make any. I feel great about Gillis. He was probably my favorite get, but then Sion's been incredible in taking over a point guard spot where I thought Caleb Foster 2 years ago was going to be the guy, and he just hasn't done it. Can't put the ball in the basket. So the depth helps. Multiple bigs. Interested to see in matchups if Malawach is going to be on that closing team. Feels like they've gone with Malik and Gillis because Clemson does have some bigs to throw at you. So I'm really interested to see. I actually wonder if an early loss would help Duke when you're talking about the rest and know when you got to gear up for. So I look at Carolina as desperate as anybody. I don't have them in. Being down in South Carolina last week, the Carolina fans think they're North Carolina's in the NCAA tournament. I don't see it. What is it, 1-12 in quad one?
Crazy. Yeah.
It's all, and them in SMU, like when they were trying to make they don't have a quad one win.
Well, how about Nebraska? Nebraska was safely in and then didn't make the conference tournament, man.
Yeah. Just brutal.
Yeah.
So we're going Flyers and underdogs only today. So I say Carolina, take them.
All right, Carolina, and then a little piece of Clemson, you would say, or no?
No, I like the price better on Louisville.
Okay, I like Louisville as well.
I try and give Clemson some love. Again, everybody just bangs on the conference, and they went to the Elite Eight last year. They're that close. Guy's a good coach, man, and they got players. So I'm interested to see how that plays out.
All right, Big Ten. Kind of intrigued the way the bracket is laid out. Dana Altman in conference tournaments. Oregon at 28-1. Little piece of that jumped out at me. 35th offense, 36th defense. Beat A&M, San Diego State, Bama. But then in conference play, they're very up and down. So that one kind of jumped out. I like Maryland's draw at 350. Michigan State needed a prayer to beat them. They're obviously on opposite sides of the bracket, but that would be a final. They beat Michigan. They smashed Illinois. Illinois is going through some stuff. Illinois at 750. The metrics love them. They lost by 100 to Duke. They did lose to Rutgers, but they got 5 guys in double digits. They're playing better. And I think Michigan at 12-1 is slipping. So
yeah, you could have them.
I would look at – I also like – UCLA still has Cronin in an environment at 650. Oregon at 28. I think you can go a variety of different directions here. For the sake of it, I'm going to take probably Maryland. I think I like the draw at 350. And then if you're going Flyers, like I'd go Oregon and UCLA as well. It's like I would take a couple of pieces here. It feels like the Big Ten kind of blows up. What are you thinking in terms of prices?
The Indiana-Oregon game is fascinating. I love your Oregon call, but like this Indiana thing is so fun because I was listening to some guys, he's like, he didn't admit that he was leaving. with Woody. So that could blow up in that fan base's face, which would feel exactly like NC State last year. I yesterday Maryland was plus 500. I whacked that one. I love the draw. I said they're the best team in the Big Ten since I think December or January. Their best is the best. I don't care what anyone says. They didn't play their best against Michigan State. Got beat at the buzzer by a 60-footer. Michigan, you can have. The turnovers are just atrocious. Purdue's kind of sneaky to me that they would get Maryland in the semis. Maryland, I know, hasn't had success in this tournament. I think it's one semifinal they've made since being in the league. What's Rutgers?
Oh, geez. I didn't even let him.
Is it over 100?
I don't know if it's going to get that high. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, if you can run hot with those two kids.
Yeah.
I feel bad for Pikel because it's like this is the 1 year they were supposed to explode.
Well, it looks like the inmates were running the asylum in Piscataway this year, But the talent for sure. I mean, they went. You go look at those games they played at Purdue, got run out of the building in the last 10 minutes. But that Michigan game, I mean, they're good. You want to talk about the ultimate flyer. You got to win, 5 games?
Rutgers is plus 20,000, 2001.
Throw $20 on it.
Yeah.
You know what? You don't have to sweat. Could be over Wednesday.
Yeah, it's nice.
It's not like you're going to sweat. And you got other options. But it was just something I hadn't thought. I had watching them the last couple of weeks because, they were invested at the beginning of games and then it got out of control and they weren't anymore. And that's going to happen when you got young guys that are going pro. I just thought you're playing SC and I just thought it's worth $20.
All right. Mountain West quickly. I wanted to touch on some stuff. I love that conference. It's an interesting conference. San Diego State Boise is going to be very interesting in the quarters there. They're both like flirting with first out, last 4 in, buys, this, that. So like they're both very interesting. New Mexico plus 250. They did split the 4 games with Boise and San Diego State. If you like San Diego State or Boise, just worth throwing that out there. I like Colorado State plus 350. Their non-conference schedule sucks. I think they should be in the tournament. But they split with Utah State, and Colorado State crushed them once. The kid Nick Clifford is averaging 18.4, 9-7, and 4-4. Like he's unbelievable. I like their draw. And then I'm giving this to you as a friend. I gave you one the other day. Didn't really go. I didn't really come to much applause when it hit. I gave you the Kansas Senior Day stat, man.
Yeah,
I gave that.
I was on it.
All right, fair enough.
I'm sorry. I was.
It's fine.
With the daughter this weekend.
You get warnings and you're juggling bottles. I know how it works.
I wasn't on my
But
phone.
I'll give you another one. I'll give you another one. And I passed on it Saturday like an idiot because I was like, 22, even on Senior Day, it's too high. Have you seen any of Air Force this year, man?
Oh, yeah.
Bro,
Scott and I talk about
don't care what it is. UNLV is going to absolutely smoke this team. Respect to the troops. Here's what's weird. If you put 100 on UNLV, I kind of hope they lose outright because then I'm putting 500 on Utah State again. Air Force is defenseless. They're so bad.
It's brutal.
So fucking bad. They lost by 40, scored 40 points. They actually, and I've watched them enough, they're in games in the first half. We're like, I kind of like first half. They hang around, and then it's like they come out with one sneaker and a hand tied behind their back in the fucking second half. It's a disaster. UNLV, isn't it? The Mountain West is in Vegas. Where is this fucking tournament? In Vegas? UNLV? Come on. People visiting for the week?
I'm totally with
you. Steve. Blind.
God, Rico. Scott and I mean, we watch all these games together. And I'll say first, I probably watch San Diego State the most in the Mountain West.
Shout out David Velasquez.
And I'm mad because the Cardenas kid at Boise State, I love. And I haven't watched much Boise State. I know Colorado State gave it to him late in the second half. But to your Air Force point, I'm telling you, Scott likes to go against the trend. He's had Air Force in their last 5 games.
Hold on one second.
I thought we canceled that.
What?
I thought
Come on, Dave. We got a special guest. Go ahead. You were still cranking out content.
Steve, do you know the show was canceled? You're on a canceled show.
It's good to see you too, Dave. We're still. We do this every year. It's a tradition. Championship week.
But
Drafting.
there's no show.
We still have the channel. Like, you want me to just? What do you want to do? Romper room back there? Like.
But this is.
All right, you're right. Well, we won't put it out. Let me just do it for at least my own entertainment. Then deal.
It's a canceled show.
All right, I got it.
Bringing this guy on a show that doesn't even have his. I thought they were joking. I go, "Where's Bosco?" They go, "He's doing healthy debates." I go, "That show's been canceled for 6 months."
Not 6. Not 6. We ran through the Super Bowl.
We were doing like vlogs and stuff for the last, 6 months since the live has stopped. He doesn't want the channel to just die.
It's a canceled.
So should we delete the channel?
You want to just
I
delete
didn't
the
know
channel?
You're just doing this to nobody. It's a.
Championship week usually bumps. This is a good episode. It usually bumps. We do pretty good.
You owe this.
I do. All right. You're right.
Steve, he owes you an apology. He's doing this to nobody. This is a canceled show and has been for 6 months. I just happened to be in the office today. I want to say hello to Rico. He's doing healthy debates. I go, that show's been canceled for 6 months.
All right. Good to see you too. Thanks.
6 months.
I guess we know what clip's going out.
Unbelievable.
Woo!
All right.
Where were we?
That was for the folks watching home. That was the laugh that only him and Scott. But now we know another person can give him that laugh. So, and it sucks because I was coming off a heater because I made him laugh like that with Air Force, and then here he comes with the bomb. So it is what it is. All right, who are you taking in the Mountain West? Your thoughts are completely derailed there.
No, I got to stay on Air Force because I said Sky's gone. He loves going against the grain, and he's had Air Force multiple times.
Oh, jeez.
This year, and he finally looked at me last week, and he's like, "Hey, do not let me take Air Force again this year." And my comeback was, they only got 2 more games, man. You got to take them. And I think he had him Saturday.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, man. All right, the big. Oh, yeah. Sorry. Who do you like in the Mountain West?
Yeah, what's the bracket? The bracket
All right, so it's New Mexico. It's going to line up New Mexico, San Jose State, Wyoming winner. San Diego State at 7-1, Boise at 4.5 or 425. Nevada Fresno winner gets Colorado State. UNLV Air Force winner gets Utah State.
I'll say Boise State and Colorado State play in the final. So I like Colorado State.
Okay, I love them as well. So we're both on that. All right,
I'm biased towards Boise. Like I said, I love Cardenas.
Yeah, the
Colorado State. What's their price?
350. 350.
All right, love. Wow, all the 500s came down to 350 today. Amazing.
SEC, the big one.
Yeah.
Massive bracket. You could go through a variety of different ways. I know everybody here is going to be like, Bama. I'll definitely have a piece of Bama. But if you're not taking Bama and they're on an opposite side, who do I think could get to the final? A&M lost by 8 to Tennessee. Lanier had to hit 8 threes in that game. The team shot 48.1% from 3. A&M shot 5 of 30, 16.7. Now, Tennessee will do that to you and make you take bad shots. A&M beat Auburn. They do play an extra game. Buzz's last 3 runs in the last 3 years was semifinal, final, and final. He cares about the tournament. I think A&M is a great spot here. They're listed at 25-1.
Mm-hmm. And then
all right, Auburn
blew out
plus
Ole Miss Saturday. Florida?
Oh, who did blow out Ole Miss? I don't know, to be honest with you.
Yeah, so in the SEC, I always like having 2 options, and you go with the top and the bottom of the bracket. I love your call on A&M. The one that sticks out again is Missouri. Their price is monstrous.
25-1 as well. Yep.
Because they're gonna get Florida as opposed to A&M getting Tennessee. And I just like the idea of Missouri having beaten Florida at Florida. I thought that was a big deal. If you're going at the top teams, I look at Alabama in that space. If you look at is that the double bye?
Yeah, I don't love Kentucky. We got to beat them. Everybody says 3 times is very hard. Beating a team 3 times. The game's going to be a track meet. We might just have Kentucky's number, but beating a team 3 times is kind of hard. Bama at 425, Florida at 270, Tennessee at 6-1, Auburn at plus 150, Ole Miss in the 8-hole 65-1, Texas A&M 25-1, Mizzou 25-1, Kentucky 19-1, and then you got a bunch of long shots. But I think top 8 is where you're going to go.
A&M and Missouri, if I'm splitting the bracket, those are my plays.
Okay.
And then on the double bye, I would look at Alabama because of the price.
Okay. Do you think the SEC is overrated? Ken Pomeroy loved to put that out. Yeah, I think it's weird because it's like
I watch it every night.
So they can't get every team to the Final Four, but I think it's separated now. They have a ton of elite teams, but then they have a bunch of teams I think are just nice seeds. Ole Miss and Mississippi State and Georgia's going to get in. But I guess you should value it or look at it as against seed expectancy. You know what I mean? So like if all of them win in the first round, then the SEC had a great year. Obviously some teams have to go deep, but I think it's versus seed expectancy. If you're a 7, you're supposed to get to the second round. If you're a 4, if none of them get upset, it shows you the SEC was strong all the way through. And I do think they're going to get 3 or 4 in the Elite 8. I know that sounds crazy. They could probably get 3 or 4 in the Elite 8. I really do. I think they're like the top is better than anybody's top. Of that list we put on for the teams, the SEC had 1, 2, 3, 4, no question, and then you were talking about Mizzou in the waiting room as well, and A&M potentially in the waiting room. So 6 real championship contenders.
Yeah. The seeding thing is very close to my heart because I cannot stand when we get a conference game on the second game. That drives me crazy. So if you need to put the teams from the same conference on the same seed line, do it. Like Auburn, Florida, Tennessee, or Bama, like make them all ones. If that helps you, and then you just can't have the 2 and the 3 aligned. Like just mix it up, or move somebody to a 4, and drop to a 3. Whatever it is, just don't give me a conference game in the second weekend. That's all I ask for. But no, it's not. I watch it every night. I mean, look at the games you're getting in the first round. What's that, Wednesday?
South Carolina, Arkansas, Texas,
Carolina
Vandy.
just beat them by 30.
LSU, Mississippi State, Oklahoma, Georgia. Georgia
just won again. Yeah.
Oklahoma, Georgia's an
Vandy
awesome
will be
one.
good.
Yeah.
So I can't go near saying that it's overrated. Now, again, what comes down is teams going far in the tournament. It's the bracket and where are these teams going to be. So, again, I pray there's no second-round matchups. A&M in the top, Missouri on the bottom. And, again, double bye teams. I would look at Alabama for the price. And I said today on our pod, the Big Ten will have multiple teams in the Elite 8.
Okay.
I stand by that, and I firmly believe the SEC will too.
Big East, St. John's, plus 155. Marquette, Xavier, 550, 850, respectively. Creighton, 370. UConn, 425. Xavier's playing for their lives here. Lost to St. John's in overtime. You obviously got UConn playing better. I think if the Big East commission or, the viewers and everything, what do you want? St. John's and UConn for a final would be electric. And we've talked about the Big East forever. Like, it was like having lottery tickets as a kid. Going to those slates and, even as a dude, I was like 7 or 9, and my cousin was a sophomore or junior at BC and took me there with all her friends because her brothers were a little older and they discovered girls. I had not discovered girls at that age, so I was like, we're good to go. Painted my face. Bill Curley's brother, who's the better
Mickey?
Mickey Curley, yeah. Mickey
right?
Curley, I think. No.
Pretty sure.
Yeah, Mickey Curley. Scooney Penn. BC ended up winning that year. So, the Big East was forever. And then playing in the league here, guys in the tournament, it's just the Big East is the best. It really is.
No doubt.
They got to get on we got friends in different networks, but put the Big East back on Big Monday, too. That's all I'll say. That's all I'll say. Which way are you going here? I think Xavier's a compelling one, and I think UConn. I'll take a piece of Xavier. I'll take a piece of UConn.
Is Marquette and Xavier the same price?
No, Marquette's 550, Xavier's 850.
Huh. I like Marquette.
Okay.
In that spot. Scott said St. John's will not win this conference tournament today. And I'm starting now to looking at the bracket. I think I agree with him. The issue is if they get there and it's UConn in the final, I love the way St. John's because they're everything that gives UConn problems. when you look at the athletic bigs and multiple of them to throw at Hurley and his guys, that's the issue. Is if it's St. John's UConn, I think, I would make St. John's a 6-7 point favorite in that game. Just looking at it, the last two times they played, they just manhandled them right from the jump in the Garden too. But Marquette is a team that just got their hearts ripped out Saturday or Sunday by St. John's, and if they were to win and beat Xavier, I watched Xavier down here early. It might have been late December. They came to Georgetown and couldn't make a basket. Georgetown beat them, and I was like, I don't know if this is a tournament team. And I've always been a Sean Miller guy. Does a great job. I think he maximizes getting what he gets out of his players. You can't find a better Thursday game with what's at stake for Marquette and Xavier, I think. So that game, those two teams are the ones I look at in the top of the bracket. And I would lean towards Marquette. I just like the way I've seen them do it at that tournament and make runs, their style of play. They don't back down from anyone. The constant pressure, playing with six guys a lot of times when Shaka's on the court, getting his team going. And what's UConn's price? $250?
$425.
Yeah, I would go Marquette and UConn.
Okay,
the top and bottom.
So I'll go.
What do you think do you think Creighton's just better against out of conference?
Yeah, he's a great coach. And they got
awesome.
a lot of length and stuff like that. I think they took a little while to get healthy.
Yeah.
But they were down and out, and they still finished
they
second
were awful
in the Big East.
Non-conference, and then they got their groove in conference, which is crazy.
Well, the conference is down a little bit, but I think they're very talented.
Yeah, if you get two games between the
But I like a piece. It's interesting you said, so Sampson doesn't give a shit about the conference tournament?
He's always like,
I think they're
put
too
it this
good.
way. I haven't ever heard him make an onus for the conference tournament.
Got it.
Now, naturally, his teams are so good a lot of times he's done it. But I think especially this year, especially the way I was going through their NCAA tournament losses the last 5 years.
I've said this forever. Going back to 2018, they lost. I remember where I was when I watched it, the Michigan game.
Oh.
They lose that. Shed gets hurt last year.
Yeah.
They finally get to a final. They just couldn't.
Four.
They couldn't do anything against Baylor, so they finally break through there. There's another close
Miami
loss.
Miami got them. That was the one that's out of they lost by double digits.
A little out of the context.
When Miami made the run. But it's a Final Four team.
Yeah, then I think there's a year we're forgetting.
Yeah, there's
19 Kentucky. The fucking Kentucky shot in the Sweet 16. They've had their hearts ripped out, and he's up there too, like in terms of Mount Rushmore. How mad do you think Indiana is that they didn't stick around? I know hindsight's 20/20, but yeah. So Houston,
we've all sent texts we shouldn't have sent, right?
100%. 100%. I would go Kansas for small, but I think I'm going to be on the same.
Where are the prices again? Top to bottom?
13 for Kansas. Arizona's $850. Texas Tech at $425. Baylor at $5,000, so 50-1. Houston minus 105. West Virginia at 75. Iowa State at 6. BYU at 11. I'm also going to go with BYU at 11. You got Iowa State with those injuries. BYU kind of gave it to him and then had a fight, to pull it out in that wild one. If Houston doesn't give a shit about it and BYU can just fling it in, I'll take BYU and Kansas both at 11 and 13, and I'll roll the dice there for the Big 12.
You said Kansas is 13-1.
Kansas is 13-1.
Yeah, that's the number one play on the bottom of the bracket for sure. I got in because I didn't think the way, I mean, they've just run the table and got all the way up to the 4. But when Kansas and BYU played in Provo, they had the exact same record and exact same conference record. And you've seen where those two teams have gone, with Kansas now being the 6 and BYU was going to be the 4. So I had BYU on the bottom of the bracket. Last week, they were plus 750 or 850 to win the conference. So I'm in at a worse price. And I think they got and they got a brutal draw that I didn't see coming. So that also shows you why I don't bet before the brackets come out. But so I'm kind of in a tank for BYU already. Interested to see what they kind of bring from the fan perspective. They always travel well, but this is a different animal. This is Iowa State and Kansas territory. The most fascinating team to me in the conference all year has been Texas Tech, because when they can make the outside shots, I mean, they go to Houston and win without their best player and their coach for the whole game. So, but they could get guys. I still look at Baylor as a dangerous team, man. With the pros, with the freshman 7, that he's fantastic. And they gave it their all against Houston. It wasn't good enough. Couldn't hold up. So Kansas on the bottom, and I'm stuck with BYU on the top, which I don't mind. I see what you're saying about Iowa State. Probably rest. They're another team. Isn't the bigger goal the conference tournament, but they have put plenty of pride in the Big 12 tournament. So BYU's going to get all they can handle from Iowa State. Do you have West Virginia in the tournament?
To be honest with you, I haven't analyzed their schedule in depth like that. I'm kind of checked out of the bubble when
Gotcha.
we're putting in UNC at 1-12 in quad 1, and Bradley and Drake are both really good, and they're there. And Colorado State's really playing really good of late, and Boise's playing really good of late, and we're not putting them in. And UC Irvine and UC San Diego are both unbelievable, and they're not even getting a sniff.
Yeah.
Like I'm not. All right, you want to have it your way, and you're gonna go with the big guys. Like, all right, fine. These teams are good. Like, and I know they don't get the opportunities because that's how it works. Like the big conferences get the games. But, like, man, I don't know, put a fucking team in who finishes 27-5. Like, give them a fucking shot.
And, Scott's point all the time is it's a TV show, and that's what wins. And if Carolina gets in, it's a crime. They don't deserve to be in the tournament. And you mentioned all the teams. I love them. That UC Irvine, San Diego, I can't wait. I hope that's the final. And I believe both teams should be in. I mean, you're looking at like 29-4. Yeah. What did Drake end up? Did they get to 30 wins?
I think so. I think 32 or 30. Yeah, I mean, McCollum's just fucking
come
unbelievable.
on.
Yeah,
I'm just tired of seeing these teams that you give them the opportunity, they can't do it. They can't do it. Well, give me a team that's probably played less amount of competition, but they're winning games and they show capability.
All right, we'll end on this. Mid-majors that you think can win a game or jumping out. High Point. Shout out Husbus. In with them. Friends of the program. High Point.
I see it.
Very good. They can score. I don't want to touch the money tonight in the Sun Belt. There's a team in the Sun Belt that's doing really well. Wolves up. Can they win one? Yale, Drake, McNeese, Utah State, UC San Diego, Irvine, Liberty, Akron. I think Akron's fucking unbelievable.
Yeah. That's another underrated conference.
Yeah, the MAC's a lot of fun.
It's tough, man. It's a really tough league.
What?
I got a question for you.
Sure.
Because I haven't seen them. And everyone in the world took the candy last year. Is McNeese better than they were last year?
Haven't watched them a ton as much, but yeah, I think the experience translates. Another game for Will Wade. I think the way he went into that, yeah, I think they'll be a little bit better.
Yeah, they're the ultimate wild card because the style of play.
Also, I mean, he's being linked to which he always is gonna. So like, you're worried about that.
Get out of that one, bud.
Yeah, I know he's always linked to jobs. That's how it goes.
Good and bad.
Let's end on that. Actually, you care. There's a lot of things you care about. You talk on your pod, like the combine. You're like, I'm interested in that. I couldn't care less about the combine. So we vary on stuff like that. Do you have, and again, I always text you, Little League World Series, Steve, you amped? You're like, fuck you, I'm going to the beach. Very politely says it. Do you give a shit about search season in terms of the coaching changes in college? Do you find yourself compelled to that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's fun.
Yeah. It's funny. I mean, you talk to a lot of coaches. I talk to a lot of coaches, whether it's basketball, baseball, football. What's funny is they are the biggest gossip guys in the world. I mean, they love to shoot the shit and ask questions, and it's fascinating. It's all fun conversation, but man, do they love it. And yeah, I think it adds to a lot. I think when you talk about guys, opportunity. I mean, I brought up the idea of, while we're talking about it, NC State last year, right? I mean, people were pulling the tweets before the ACC tournament. Get rid of this guy. Get rid of this guy. I was here in D.C. for the run. It was the team didn't lose for a month. He gets an extension. As Coach Saban says, you pay the wrong guys, you're shit out of luck. They look like they did that this year. He's gone. With this North Carolina thing and him signing an extension already, what is it too quick? Because I don't think it's set in with North Carolina fans that they're not getting in the NCAA tournament. And I think there's a whole avalanche coming when it actually doesn't happen. So that the extension thing, we know how it's fake a lot of times, doesn't really mean anything. But the ultimate question is, do you have a guy in your pocket you're going to hire?
I think they could have the pick of the litter. Yeah, I mean, it's very hard with buyouts, but it is Carolina. I think a lot of guys, no matter where they are, would be like, oh, my God, Carolina. Yeah, I'm at least taking the call.
Correct.
I would still give Hubert a chance to hit a home run in the portal.
I would, too.
I don't know what their
I mean, he's the best guy in the world. He's a Tar Heel. He's the guy you wanted. He's brought you to a final. So I'm with you. I mean, they got a kid, Derek Dixon, a shooting guard from Gonzaga down here, who got beat in the WCAC finals. Difference maker, like could shoot the hell out of the ball. That's what they need, the difference makers. And it's fascinating to watch. So yeah, the coaching search stuff I think is always phenomenal. And you can also automatically stamp the little guy that makes it to the Sweet 16, he's gone.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't care what it is. He's gone. Yeah. So,
would you ever jump into Twitter Spaces? Shari Curry Hicks Sage. He does the search season every night.
No,
would you?
No.
Okay,
I don't go in there.
All right. You said you're interested in it. That's the number one spot to go.
Yeah. No, I'll read. I read plenty about it. I'm good on the Spaces.
All right. Fair enough. All right. The last question. Literally the last question. The last we talked in the text, Final Four in San Antonio was 50-50. Which way has that moved?
I'm waiting on a call. If I get the call to go to work, I'm going.
Awesome.
So if I'm not asked to work, I am not going.
All right. You think
You are going.
You think I'm flying or you think I'm taking a bus?
What do you need?
They got to make the Final Four. That's it.
Oh.
If they do, you better be there because the other two, the big, the guy who loves to shit on me and the other guy who loves to shit on me, they will have to go to the Pumps party and I will treat them like a fucking turnstile. I'll have every Lola. I'll actually make it a point.
You got to get 2 leashes.
Yeah, I should have 2 leashes. But Iona's Dobo, he comes in. UC Irvine's assistant, High Point's Dobo. Like, I'll get him all. He'll be like a fucking turnstile. And we'll get there the minute the doors open and we will not leave till the minute the time ends. By the end of it, I might get fired because be like, yeah, I know we made a bet, but, you're done. Like, this is the worst night of my life. Be the best for me, but.
Is the flight booked?
No, we have not. So we have not touched the money either way.
Okay. Are you confident?
I'm very confident. I think they could play with anybody. Yeah. Listen, it all depends on draws. I'm not. There is one.
How fast are you tweeting after you see the draw?
There's one team I don't like. I wouldn't love to see again. I'll give you that hint. Even though they beat them. But Houston, I think, is a very difficult matchup, the way they play. Houston's very difficult. Even though Otis had his number, I don't want to see Houston in that bracket. But anybody else, I'm good with. They beat Auburn. They could play with anybody else. So we'll see. Yeah, it all depends on draws, but
who's their best 5?
Sears, Nelson. It's weird because you'd go smaller. Youngblood, Phylon. Sears, Youngblood, Phylon. Nelson, and Holloway. And I would just let's fucking fling it. It'd be smaller. It'd be tough to do. So maybe take Holloway out, or take Phylon out. Give me Holloway with the experience, and then put in Cliff. So gun to head: Cliff, Nelson, Youngblood, Phylon, Holloway, and Sears.
I've thought, and I mean, we watch them constantly. They're one of the best watches in the country. Cliff's good. Does it outweigh the bad? And at the bad, it's the missed shots at the rim. And can you make enough threes to overcome that? Because he's going to give you everything he's got on the other end, and he's a game wrecker. He's the only guy I've ever seen stand up against Edey and play well. Klingon did his deal, but consistently in conference play. So that's the kick for me is, and then Stevenson. Like, do you get March Stevenson from last year? I mean, he was incredible.
Yeah.
So it's a lot. I mean, it's why Coach Oates gets paid the big bucks, right?
Yep.
And that staff is going to run the substitution. So, no, I picked the preseason to win it, and I think once you see the draw, you let us know if you're going to be driving or flying.
All right.
Let us know.
All right. Appreciate it.
Hold on. One other thing.
Sure.
As long as they don't have to play one of the top 4 SEC teams, the winner of the Coastal is winning a game in a tournament. I don't know who it's going to be. It's going to be Towson or College of Charleston or Wilmington.
Okay.
They're going to win a game.
Okay.
I'm dead set. I've watched a ton of that league. It's a really good league. As long as they don't have to,
play one of the SEC teams.
If they say, I think they deserve a 14. I don't think they should have to be a 15.
Right.
And I watch them play, man. They got plenty of talent.
Yeah. Don't sleep on Inglesby tonight, though. Friend of the program. He's a Bray guy. He got the 12 seed in the semis, so we'll see.
Yeah.
But all right, Steve.
I'm all in on Coach Scary.
Appreciate the time. We'll text you, a ton. Let me know about the Final Four, and I'm glad you got your laugh today. And we'll see you soon.
Is there a camera waiting for you outside?
Probably, yeah.
Okay.
Probably, yeah. So that's how it works. All right, thanks, Steve.
Bye.